Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. My name is Evan and this is Sense or Sense. And today I wanted to give you an update on what I'm carrying in my wallet for the end of 2025 going into 2026 and how I plan on using those particular credit cards to my advantage, both from a perspective of my business spend and my personal spend. So I wanted to get into each individual card, the reasons why those cards are important for my setup, and some wild cards that might end up being in my wallet at some parts of 2026 but are not going to sit in there right now. For example, a Discover card for its 5% cash back on certain categories that are very specific to the calendar and when they're giving those bonus cash back opportunities. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, and let's talk about one of my main cards that I use. Actually, I have two of them. I have two Citi Custom Cash cards, and as most people know, these cards are great. I've actually product changed from other Citi cards down into these Citi Custom Cash cards. I have three of them between my wife and myself, and I use them for two different categories in particular. The first category is I have one card specifically for gas. And I don't spend more than $500 a month in gas, so I can assure myself that that card is going to get me 5 thank you points for every single dollar I spend on gas. And then I can generally use those thank you points for transferring out. Specifically now, I can transfer them out to American Airlines, which is a great benefit. I've also, at different times throughout the years, I've also taken basically a deposit into my bank account depending on the circumstances and how many other points I have with Citi and what upcoming travel I have. I don't like to keep a lot of points, thank you points in Citi, because it's not my, I'm not making a huge number of points on it like I do with the Amex membership rewards, and I'm not making a whole lot on Chase at times either. But ultimately, I'd say Citi is probably my third ecosystem, maybe even fourth, depending on what my catch-all card is at the time. So I use one of those Citi Custom Cash for gas and one for grocery. There are some months where I spend more than $500 in grocery, and if that's the case, then I default to my catch-all card, which I'll talk about in just a minute. So my second card that I use for all business purchases from my wife's business and my business is the Alaskan Airlines Atmos Summit card. And I got this card just recently. I did a separate video on that. And it is basically my catch-all card for my businesses. And yes, I only get 1x multiplier on everything except for restaurants for the most part. But I value Alaska points very highly. I actually get more than 3 cents per point on almost all my redemptions because I'm doing flights between Dallas and Santa Fe, first class, economy class, multiple people, multiple times a year. And I also get the partner booking fee of $12.50 per way per person waived with this card. And just that benefit alone will probably save me around between $200 and $300 on a $395 annual fee card. And then like I said, I value all the points at 3 cents plus per point. And then I'm also trying to get to that $60,000 spend between both businesses over the next from August of 2025 to August of 2026, because then I'll earn 100,000 point companion pass for my wife and I to use for our upcoming travels, probably going to Europe at some point in the middle of 2027. That companion pass will be good for at least a calendar year from when I get it. It will probably take me the full calendar year to spend the $60,000 for the businesses, but I'll probably get to that at some point in the middle part of the summer of next year, and therefore I can use that companion pass in 2027 for Europe. So that's a very valuable benefit. That's probably worth at least, possibly, I don't think a round trip ticket, but more than a one way for a business class ticket to Europe. So that's why I'm going for that $60,000 spend. I value that $100,000 certificate at least $4,000 to $5,000. So I'm going to get an additional, I'm going to get almost probably between the 1x back on the Atmos card plus that certificate. That's going to give me close to 10% or so on my business spend, if you want to look at the points and what I'm going to redeem it for. So it's a very niche basis, but that's what I'm going to use it for. Let's jump into the next card. The next card that I have in my wallet is my Chase Sapphire card. And I use this card primarily for certain types of Chase dining through their online presence. They have certain opportunities. It's going to get more powerful now that they're revamping the Chase Sapphire card at the end of October of 2025. And I'll use it for Chase dining and getting credits and other things as well. But I also use this card for a lot of dining opportunities combined with Built to get up to 5 or 6x on dining around Dallas at places that I usually frequent at. So this is my kind of dining / specific use card. And then I also use it for booking airline tickets, as well as booking anything that's travel related, like rental cars, because they have the best coverage in the industry, in my opinion, for insurances, travel insurances, primary car insurance, for rentals, that kind of thing. So I use that card almost exclusively for travel, except for when I'm overseas. I will use the Atmos Summit card to get the 3x back on overseas purchases. So those are my two cards that I keep in there, not only for travel, but for those other reasons, as I've mentioned. Then I have some other, I have my catch-all card, which is my Venture X card. I use this obviously for my $300 travel credit each year. I generally book one or two hotel room nights for a real quick trip to Austin or something like that to visit some friends, to use that $300 credit. I don't do it for anything more complicated than that, because booking through third-party portals can get you in trouble sometimes when you're overseas, as well as other things, and you have a problem, then you have to deal with Capital One and not the actual airline or hotel, and that can be a real hassle when you're overseas. So that's what I typically use it for, to get my annual fee of $395. But I also use it for my catch-all for specifically when I go to Costco to make purchases. They only accept Visa cards, and that's a 2x Visa card, so I can use that. And I value my Capital One points at roughly 2 cents per point. So if I'm getting 2x back on my Capital One Venture card, then it's worth about 4% at Costco. I make probably between $5,000 and $10,000 worth of purchases at Costco each year, depending on whether or not I'm buying large ticket items for the business, or if I'm just buying like groceries and things for my family. Sometimes I go and buy groceries and things for my in-laws, and they pay me back, so I get some extra bonus cash back from that too as well. So that's kind of my catch-all. And then I have a few cards that I wouldn't say that are in my wallet regularly. As I mentioned, one before is the Discover card for its 5% categories. When they have gas and grocery, they're doing Amazon right now, so obviously it's not in my wallet, but if I need to make an Amazon purchase, I can use it and get 5% cash back. And my player 2, she has the Discover card with the double of the cash back right now until I believe it's April of next year, because we just applied for her in April of 2025, which means that all the 5% cash back categories are essentially doubled in April, May of 2026 for me. They're going to double up. So I'm essentially going to be able to get 10% back on Amazon this entire quarter for any purchases I make for Christmas or other gifts that I need to get for individuals, as well as other household spend. So that's going to be real beneficial going into the end of the year. I don't carry it in my wallet, but that is something I'm going to be using. And then the last card that I keep in my wallet, but I very rarely use it, I might use it maybe 5 to 10 times a year, is the actual Costco card itself, the MasterCard that they have through Citi. And I guess is it Visa now? I guess it is Visa now, because that's all they accept. So it's the Costco card that's issued by Costco directly. And the reason why I have it is my wife got it many years ago when we got our membership, and she didn't have a credit card. This was probably 11, 12 years ago, and I've just kept it. It's a no annual fee card. They've really upped the game recently. They've now made it so that the Costco gas gets 5% cash back on that card. And that's really the only card I can use at Costco gas pumps to get any decent amount of cash back, because my other cards that I have, the Citi Custom is a MasterCard. So, this card comes in handy for primarily gas pump at Costco. Every once in a while, I'll use it for purchases at Costco as well. But this card is essentially, maybe it's in my wallet just for the specific use of being on the road and going to Costco to get gas, or if I happen to go to Costco and I need gas, I'll stop, but it's not every time that I go. I have multiple other Sam's Clubs that takes my City Custom Cash card and nearby, and I'm a Walmart Plus member, so I can get the access to those pumps, and that's a better way of me getting the 5% back, in my opinion, because it's closer to my house primarily. So this is what I have in my wallet right now. As far as going into 2026 and what I plan on putting in my wallet in 2026, I'm going to focus on that Atmos card for most of the first half of 2026. I'm not so sure I'm going to get very many other cards to add to the mix for probably about 6 months. I've got several inquiries that need to drop off my credit report before I start reapplying. I'd really like to get a couple more Chase cards, but I'm over the 5 in 24 rule. So I've had more than 5 inquiries in the last 2 years. And so Chase is very likely going to deny me based on that alone. So I'm trying to get my number of inquiries down below 5. That's probably going to take me into around August of 2026 before I can do that. So I personally won't probably apply to very many cards. I have most cards already that I want, but that's what I'm going to plan on. I might get player 2. I might get her to get 1 or 2 cards between now and then. But I haven't put much thought into that. I'll probably make another video towards the end of this calendar year talking about the specifics of those possible cards that she might put into her wallet, or I might use it in my wallet as well. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for all your recent support. We're almost to 500 subscribers. I'd love for you guys to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. I'd love to know what you have in your wallet too, because maybe I'm missing something. So let me know. Until next time, thanks.